Welcome back to Who Doesn't Have a Podcast? I'm your host, Michael, and this week I'm joined by a man who was carried into this meeting by a cloud of sparkly bugs and keeps insisting that the forest sent him. It's Jerome.
Hi there. What?
And I'm also joined by a man who just got back from battling a wild tiger, armed with only a flashlight and an army of school children. It's Dan. Right, this week we're going straight into an episode of Catching Dan Up. Dan, you know the score. We have written some things down, and one of them is true, and it just hit me that is what they do in Would I Lie to You, isn't it? You know, it's the three of them, and one of them is true. It's basically Would I Lie to You. Well,
Would I lie to who?
Would I who to you?
Would I lie to who? What do you think of that? Idiots. Oh, is it too late to rename it?
Well, no one watches, so yeah. We're going to rename it. We're going to rename it.
Are you in agreement? Would I lie?
We're going to play the first installment of our new game show, Would I Lie to Who? Jerome has come up with 3 things this week that are lies, but there is one sneaky truth hidden in there. And Dan, it's your job to tell us which one of these things is true. Got it?
Thank you, Rob.
So, Dan, welcome. You have a chance today. This week, Dan, specifically for you, is to do with the sonic screwdriver. How well do you know your sonic screwdriver? So, Dan, here you go. Firstly, the Doctor's beloved Swiss Army tool, the sonic screwdriver, was once written out of the series by an 80s producer because the Doctor was becoming too reliant upon this device, with one member of the BBC rumoured to quote, "We can't have a protagonist whose only real obstacle is a wooden door." Second one. William Hartnell, the first Doctor, was loath to use the sonic screwdriver as a prop, quoting, "I'm playing the Doctor, not the Builder. Am I supposed to use this as a fucking magic one, Dan?" Is this. In a Peter Davidson era episode named Time Flight, the Doctor notably states that the sonic screwdriver is not designed to kill or even injure any opponent. "It wouldn't hurt a fly," he proclaims proudly, at which point a fly buzzes past and the sonic has its HADS protocol initiated due to the sudden zonal intrusion, and the sonic zaps it into a puddle of goo. This creates a paradox whereby the Doctor is mistakenly accused a murderer and a creator of the universe's greatest planetary weapons. And Dan, just for you, there's a sneaky fourth one, and it's this very quickly. Special fourth inclusion. Matt Smith's sonic screwdriver broke new ground with its ability to be controlled telepathically, and until a late script and series amendment featured a running joke where the Doctor had to say the words "bibbidi bobbidi boo" before pointing and clicking the device to enable an action. This was because, as the TARDIS was cooking up the new Sonic, the Doctor, searching up info on the Atraxi through Greg's comedy laptop in the 11th hour, would accidentally release a series of web viruses via an assumed pornographic website controlled by Godlover 885. So, Dan, you've got 4 options there.
And this is because usually I throw in a novelty one that is designed to make me and only me laugh. But this time there isn't there's no machine gun Shelley in this one.
There's just no humour. No. Okay, so the 2 I was immediately drawn to were number 1 and number 3.
Ooh.
I feel like they've got the most levity because the first one, you say the 80s where they changed the sonic screwdriver.
The 1980s, yes. A producer in the 1980s.
But Doctor Who wasn't going on in the 80s, was it?
It was.
Oh, was it? Oh, no, it was. Forgive me, I hadn't been born.
Ran all the way to 1987.
I'm only thinking because when we watched the Doctor Who movie, I don't distinctly remember there being much use of the sonic screwdriver.
Mm.
I don't remember.
I forgot we watched the movie.
So there's some truth behind that. But then I also
Paul
think
McGann uses it to scratch his arse at one point, I think.
Desperate times. Desperate times. But then I think the third one, because...
So, just to go back over them.
And I think it'd be quite a funny Doctor Who plot to have him make a joke over couldn't harming a fly and then it completely rewriting all of that.
And they've also called it Time Flight.
Time Flight. Nice.
But just for our audience's sake, that you've got no belief in Matt Smith, and Hairy Godlover 5. Just want to rule that one out for you.
Would that username of Hairy Godlover, would that have been seen on the screen during the episode, or would that have been like mentioned?
It was for those that bought the novelization. It was like a tidbit, like I read
A tidbit, literally.
Yeah, tidbit. Yeah.
I reader.
Sorry,
Right.
you broke.
So I'm gonna go with my guts. And I'm gonna pick number 1.
Number 1.
So, Dan, this week you have guessed correctly. They did try and write this. Yeah. So this is an interesting thing about the sonic screwdriver, because they still say it to this day, don't they? What do they call it in TV and film? A MacGuffin. If something's like a magic wand that you can just like use to get out of any situation, I'm pretty sure they call that a MacGuffin. And Doctor Who's name for having like MacGuffins, like late third act plot developments that just like wisp away the whole thing. I'm not going to say any names in the forest of the night, but yeah. So yeah, I'm surprised you didn't.
It's interesting. It's interesting because even that they did get rid of it, and I can't remember. I want to say it was probably around Colin Baker. But they did get rid of it, but they didn't. Coy had a sonic on. They got rid of it, but they kind of didn't. And also, William Hartnell never had one. He never had a sonic screwdriver.
Well, there were lots of things, like, I don't think he was called a Time Lord or anything, or he had like a race of people, or like Gallifrey. Like, none of that was in William Hartnell's era.
It's almost like they just added lore. Like, how could you do that in a TV series?
I'm not having it, Jerome.
Did you ever do that?
No.
I know.
I already hate classic Doctor Who anyway, so.
For all the classic Doctor Who fans out there watching us, he's joking.
Yeah, I've just shaved off a huge portion of our audience. What am I fucking doing?
Get in your TARDIS. We'll be right back.
Okay, boys. The Night. Boys, did you both manage to watch it?
Yes.
Sort of.
He was too busy getting his key cut.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was too busy screaming down the phone. No, I'm more interested to hear what Dan's got to say first, because Dan, you've never seen it before?
I've not. Never have I experienced emotion quite like the sudden plot twist that trees are the real hero of Doctor Who. I think that's the first time that shrubbery's been a kind of hero figure, at least from what I've seen of Doctor Who.
And you could say maybe it shouldn't have been.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe there were some better ideas that maybe got put by the wayside. I don't know, but no, I'll be honest. It was daft. It was just a daft episode of Doctor Who, and I feel like they were trying to do something quite clever with it, and then at the halfway point, they just went, "Should we break for lunch?" And they just went, "Yeah, trees are the answer," and they kind of just ran with that to get to Greg's a bit sooner. But the only thing I did find a bit weird, though, I did like the way they made it obviously look like it was in a forest, put like the bits of like traffic signs and stuff like that. I thought that was quite cool. But the kind of like undo action on all the trees that suddenly zapped away bit by bit at the ending looks a bit crap. And the fact that the girl, she,
come on, remember her name, Dad.
Have control over. What did she? I mean, all I thought when we saw the fireflies, I just had a proper throwback to Torchwood.
Yeah, it was the same thing. So the child running through the forest at the start really reminds me of that Torchwood episode. That actually really scary Torchwood episode.
But I think that was the. I mean, I'll put it this way: there are, in my opinion, I think there's probably been the odd episode of more recent Doctor Who that we've seen that I would argue is worse than that episode. That's my controversial opinion.
Any names? Any specific names? Or are you going to say Space Babies?
Fucking loot.
Hey, as far as I'm concerned, there's no episode of Doctor Who that couldn't be improved by the Space Baby ship just farting itself into the shot. Lest I remind you, both, that is how the Space Baby ship gets around. It farts and then it moves.
Yeah. I think the fact that the kids were very undeterred or very unfazed by a certain amount of trees.
But like, it's almost a Dr. Light episode. Like, Capaldi's not in it for a good portion of it to begin with.
Yeah.
And I just feel like they kind of they try to focus on Clara and Danny's relationship. And you know, in the grand scale of the rest of that series, I understand that decision. But it was like there's earlier episodes where the connection between those two characters is so much stronger. And then it feels like the writing in this particular episode is like they've never met each other in their lives. It's like they're complete strangers. And it just doesn't make sense for me in the kind of all of the series. Also the song, I just feel like, and again, I also, and you know children who are a lot younger than I am, who are more intelligent than that episode was giving them credit for. Just like some of the jokes and some of the things, I just think I just don't think it's aged well. I think it landed poorly. And ultimately, while the concept is interesting, like the idea of, oh, mystery, why is this forest like come out of nowhere? I just think the resolution just is so unsatisfying, personally.
Do you think
I just think it's not, because there's no villain, there's no antagonist, there's no like, which there doesn't need to be. Like, not every good episode of Doctor Who has a villain necessarily, but because there's nothing else to kind of anchor it, it just falls, like when it falls flat, for me, it falls really flat.
I'd completely forgotten that Missy. So towards the end, when Missy appears, I'd forgotten about this episode. That Missy, they kind of shoehorn Missy in as the main antagonist at the end because we're kind of led to believe that she's the person that orchestrated the solar flare. I think.
Yeah.
That's supposed to hit Earth. Is that right?
That's the impression I got. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, you could be possibly right there, but I don't know. Just like, I don't know.
You could be possibly right there. I just don't care.
It's just, it's not an episode I ever wanted to really revisit. So thanks, Mike. But hey, look, I think it's good to see sort of different episodes. And if it wasn't as zany and kind of weird as this show is, we wouldn't get some of the golden moments either. So I think you've got to take the hits and the misses, don't you, really?
I was just going to say, I feel like, do you reckon it's one of these examples of a kind of a decent plot, a decent idea, but it just didn't really go anywhere? Because it felt like there were 5 or 6 different things that were trying to shoehorn in that didn't really have, like when Annabelle reappeared, like her sister reappeared, and that didn't really, that was no kind of gut punching moment. It was the mum kind of going, Annabelle. It was just a bit, I don't know, it was just like a half-assed effort across the board. And like you said, there was no real antagonist, and that was, again, it was screaming out for someone to have been responsible for that. And again, it might have been Missy, but the way it's done it, it's just kind of almost been like a bit of a bridge gap between, like you mentioned, some of the darker episodes, and it's a bit all right. Here's a bit of relief before it all goes completely into the finale. Am I in the right kind of ballpark with that, where it's a bit of like a breather almost episode before?
Yeah, because it does, Mike, you might remember this. It does come in a really weird place because it's like episode 10, and then straight after this episode is like the 2-part finale with Missy. It's a really weird placement for it.
That's why I also thought that's why they shoehorned Missy in at the end to kind of give it a bit of connection. I remember that's why I was as disappointed with the episode as I was at the time, because Doctor Who became known for its 3rd episode from the finale to kind of run into the finale a little bit and build everything up. And this one didn't quite do that. It very standalone. I felt on rewatch, I actually enjoyed it a little bit more, but I felt like it was a kind of like BBC Red Button episode, or like some sort of children in need like add-on. Do you know what I mean? As opposed to justifying itself as like an episode of Doctor Who.
Or is it just me? What's going on at the end? As in, not the Missy end, with the sister. And I see she's gone now as well. Oh no, she's returned via your screen, Mike. But like, what's going on?
It's a bad ending. It's a bad ending. I don't really know. I don't
Why is
know.
she hiding in the
And
bush?
it's kind of creepy how she's like, yeah, it's creepy, isn't it? She's like hiding in the bush. It's just her eyes poking up.
Yeah,
But
it's
like
really
mum's
weird.
It's the mum's reaction to go, Annabelle, like not like you've been missing. Like, what the fuck are you doing hiding in a bush? It's just random. Like, we're not. I mean, no one's acknowledging the fact that these full forest is like fizzing away like static on an old TV. No one is talking about. It disappeared. London is covered. The whole world is covered in forest, and suddenly it just goes. And then it's fine. You go, oh, that's a solar flare. No scientist, no one has seen a solar flare, and it just fizzles away parts of a tree. That doesn't make sense. And if it did fizzle parts of the tree, why didn't the real trees go with it? Because they were still there. I don't know whether like photosynthesis has something to do with this bollocks, but it makes no sense.
I totally
What you're
agree.
saying.
I totally agree on that fact, especially like just the logic of the trees. Like this forest has appeared in London, and no one's talking about it. No one's there, and also like you haven't even got twigs or branches or kind of like trunks just marauding their way through people's windows and pissing people off, and you haven't got branches falling into you like Weetabix. Like what is going on? I don't know. It just makes like the logic of the trees makes no sense to me.
But even to the point where the kids, like when the kids was like, the doctor's kind of going, no, you need to be okay, like we need to sort you out. And she's like, I've still got a phone signal. I've called my mum. She says, oh, it's all right, just be careful. That happens all the time in central London.
And also, like, and I understand it, right? But it's like everything that is shown to be London is like a red telephone box, a red bus, like the underground station. Like, there's no like.
Not the London that we know. Not real London. Collier's Wood.
And you know, kind of
there,
you carry miles at 3 a.m. like whatever, but you don't like yeah, I get why they've done that because of the wider audience, and to not say it isn't London, but it just felt a bit like, okay, I don't know, yeah.
It has to be a special mention to Nell Column falling on the two of them and the most pathetic part fall and casual look at each other that I've ever seen. Their lives were in peril. It's a massive 100-foot statue that nearly crushed.
You've touched on something quite meaningful there, Dan, because this whole episode for me, whilst I enjoyed it a little bit more, there's no peril to it. Like, at no point did I really believe anything. Like, even when Cora said that she doesn't want to be the last of her kind, I'm like, that emotion, that's supposed to be like a big emotional payoff, and it just didn't feel like that, did it? Dan's fuming. Dan is fuming.
No, you just opened Pandora's box. Because the other thing is, the Doctor goes back in his TARDIS and fucks off, and then he goes, oh, like that thing that Doctor Idiot. And like, what? That's a line.
But also, that is a really good point, because I was watching it thinking, the Doctor has solved some pretty complex issues in his time. Like, the Doctor has been, the odds have been stacked against the Doctor in ways that are like unbelievable. Like the universe dying, like you jump in parallel worlds, like losing all of this stuff, and I'm like, why couldn't he have figured this out? Like, he just kind of gives up. He gives up in a way which is like, I'm just going to say it. Maybe he wanted them to all die.
And the thing is that ties in perfectly with the sort of finale of the episode, where he kind of goes, you know what? It's because what I loved about the ending, and everything you two picked up on it, was that it kind of had a really strong final line. You kind of go, oh, okay, there's a message behind this. And then the Doctor carries on talking. You go, no, like, let's end on a high. Don't stop. Don't ruin it. Because he goes, what is it? Forgetting, or something about forgetting is humanity's superpower. And you go, oh, that's good. And then he goes, because otherwise you wouldn't have any more wars. And you go, yeah, too right, yeah, great. Let's end it there. or you'd stop having babies. Quite the same tone.
Doesn't land. Doesn't land.
Doesn't quite see what you're doing, Doctor, but it's quite going hand in hand there. And also, how long were the kids meant to be sleeping in the library? Just nod off, because it looked more like a. Why were they in there for so long?
And also, what school lets children just sleep in a cave? I get we're in a science fiction, non-reality situation here, but no one's bringing that up. It's fine.
And can I also actually, you just raised a really good point there. I love the bit where the mum is in the living room. She's trying to find the keys, and she goes, "Oh, the bloody neighbours! They've just put up some trees. How much light do they reckon 2 trees?" And then she goes outside, has a casual word with the neighbour, going, "Bit weird, this, isn't it? Like the council should have let us know. Like fucking trees coming about nowhere is a completely normal thing for a council." And then when she finally gets there, she goes, "Okay, well, I can't take the car. That's covered by trees. I can't walk because that's dangerous. I'll go on the most tiny, thimbly little bicycle across alien tree trunks and branches without." She didn't even injure herself. How does that? You would have injured yourself.
I would love.
Why the wolves not get the mum? That's what I'm more annoyed by. If the wolves had murdered the mum, that's a good plot point. There was a sacrifice. Someone died. That would have made a proper impact on me. But
it shifts the tone, though. Dan. It shifts the tone.
Moment. It was the perfect moment to have the wolves transform into the Rani. Bob's your uncle. There you go. Return of a classic Who villain.
Why did we have the random flashbacks to the kids at school where one of them, just because he said please for the first time, and in the past he got into arguments and kicked a table and then walked out the room? That doesn't make him a bad kid. Or then the other one that's like, "Can you find X?" And she's like, it's there. And I'm like, what the fuck has it got to do with what's going on?
Dan, that bad kid comes back in series 9 as the main villain.
What, as a Dalek?
Not even that good.
So, a few things that I thought I should mention about this rewatch. So, Peter Capaldi is a really good doctor, and he's episode. I think we would all look fine. So when she arrives at the TARDIS, he opens the door. She says, "I need help" or something, and he just goes, "It's that way." So, and what we find out is there are tigers and wolves roaming around. So, in an alternate universe, that girl would have just drifted off to tiger territory, and it would have been the Doctor's fault. But as we know, he doesn't really care about humanity. Another thing was, I've always really disliked the Series 8 title sequence. I don't know what you guys think about that, but it always seemed a bit cheap to me. No?
It's kind of seen, but it doesn't really fit. For me, it doesn't really fit Doctor Who. I get it maybe goes with Capaldi's Doctor because he's got that bit of an edge about him. But I think of the one, of all the opening credits, that's probably my least favourite.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say this as well. So the world's media is surprisingly chill about all this, which I think piggybacks on what Dan's saying about no one giving a flying fuck. When they're all doing their little pieces to camera, there was a time where Doctor Who utilised the world's media. I'm thinking about the season 4 finale, the Stolen Earth and all that stuff, where they use the world's media, like American media, to really good effect. It creates a sense of global catastrophe. But in this one, none of them seemed to give a flying fuck about what was going on. They were just forests have popped up everywhere. Lol.
Well, what I've got to quickly. What did the BBC News reporter say? Because they tried to make a joke about it. It was like, it's not the time nor the place.
Everyone would be screaming, like you say, like massive tree trunks would have just popped up through people's kitchen islands. People would be fuming. They might have split a person into. A person might have just been walking down the street and the forest just split them up. Bit dark.
It's definitely killed.
I also wanted to say, Danny Pink has a serious safeguarding complaint coming his way. He's just leading these kids into danger. And the funniest bit was the kids and Danny not being afraid whatsoever about that tiger. So Danny flashes his light in the eyes of the tiger. The tiger that inexplicably just runs away, And then, without missing a beat, it must be like, what, 3 seconds? They're all walking over to where the tiger was stood. They're all like cheering. It's like, guys, that tiger might come back. That tiger's not gone. The tiger's not blind.
Have you never heard of prides? Have you ever been to school? They were literally in a natural history museum. They walked past the stuffed one. They must know what's going to happen next. Oh, I found the BBC thing. It's when she says, you might have heard of leaves on the line, but this takes it to a whole new level.
That's a sackable offence.
Yeah, I'd agree.
So,
Shocking.
not a fan then.
Shocking.
I would say about this episode is it is routinely it's not a fan favourite. I think they tried to do something a bit different with it, like you guys were discussing. There's not really like an enemy, it's just kind of like something happens. Like the forest is about protecting Earth, like I don't know, it's like an eco message. It stands out as an episode because it really falls away from the formula of Doctor Who in quite dramatic ways, and I can't say it's always successful. I think some of the writing is quite good, though. I think some of the character work in the episode is actually really good. I just think the plot, for me, doesn't really. I think
Episodes of Doctor Who. Yeah, it's fine. It's harmless. I was just thinking there while we were talking, like, would I put it in like the episodes I wouldn't revisit again? Yes. Would I put it in like the worst ones ever made? I'd be like, oh, I don't know, because ultimately, like, I've had a bit of a sort of mild reaction to it where I can't help but think like this episode wasn't for me. Do you know what I mean? Whereas there are other episodes that have offended me a lot more. Looking at,
but it felt more like an episode of like the Sarah Jane Adventures or something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
I remember being really disappointed with it.
If this had been an episode of Sarah Jane, I think it would have got a lot better reception. 100%.
Big time.
Because I think you tune in week on week for Doctor Who, especially leading up to the finale. Fans expect like, epic things to happen, and this didn't really have anything. And
Dan, Mike, or if you were having technical issues, like earlier in this series, their relationship, Danny and Clara's, feels so much stronger. And for some reason in this episode, it's like they're strangers. And I don't know whether that's because sometimes maybe that was a scheduling thing. You write an episode being told it's going to be like the third in a series, and then it gets swapped, and it's like, oh, actually, you're going to be right at the end or something, because that does happen.
Get in your TARDIS. We'll be right back.
We thought we're going to spice it up this week because this week is the week of St. Valentine. It's a very romantic week. So I thought, why not flip it on its head and give you two a taste of your own question medicine. So what I've got here are 10 questions. This is all regarding Doctor Who Companion. 10 questions. The way it's going to work is this. I'm going to start with Jerome. Jerome's going to be given question 1. If he gets it right, he gets the point. If he gets it wrong, it's going to go to you, Mike, and you have the chance to earn that point. If neither of you get it, you don't get a point. Okay? Question 2 will go to Mike, 3 to Jerome, back and forth until we complete the 10. All right, Jerome, here we go. Which companion's mother was the chairperson of a company called Pharaoh's or Pharos Project?
And this, just to check, this includes all of Doctor Who, so this could be classic Who.
This is across Doctor Who.
Oh, I'm fucked.
Ross. You know what? I don't know.
You don't
I can't
know?
remember.
Okay.
But I don't think it's New Who. I'm gonna take a guess and say Tegan.
Tegan, okay. Tegan is the wrong answer, so I'm going to pass it over to Mike.
I honestly don't know.
Which companion's mother was the chairperson of a company called Pharos or Pharos Project?
Is it Mel?
It's not Mel. The correct answer is Martha Jones.
Oh,
fuck yeah.
Okay, so no points for question 1. Mike, question number 2. What was the name of the planet where Donna Noble was almost married? Is Earth your final answer?
Earth, Dan. Yeah.
Incorrect. Jerome, I'm going to throw it over to you. What was the name of the planet
married?
Where Donna Noble was almost married?
I'm going to contend this after, by the way.
Wait,
Okay.
so hang on. Does that? Because I think it depends on which episode we're going for here. Because if it's the Christmas one with her first appearance,
That's Planet Earth, right? Do you remember? She's
yeah.
about to marry that guy. I think his name's Lance, and then she gets
No,
zapped away to the
travel?
TARDIS.
Unless do they travel? Yeah, they do, and it's definitely a planet. It's not like a trick answer, like space, as in like she's in the TARDIS.
What was
It's
the
gotta be a
name of the
planet.
planet where she was
Okay.
almost?
Jerome,
okay.
you think the answer to what the name of the planet is space?
I'm sure right now there's a planet in Doctor Who called Space. Let's be honest. I am sure. I don't know. Unless it's where it's like turn left or I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to say it's like a parallel Earth and say like 416 or something. I don't know. I'm just thinking of episodes she's been in and kind of going, I don't know. That's my answer.
So neither of you got question 2 correct. The correct answer is Shan Shen.
There's no way. We could have carried on all night.
Shan Shen.
What episode?
It doesn't say.
Picked it up.
They don't.
Right,
It doesn't
right,
say.
right. It'll get better. It'll get better. Okay.
Also, sorry, Dan. Sorry to cut you off. I should get a point for that because she did almost get married on Earth.
No. But he said like where it first happened. That might not have been.
Well, it wasn't space, was it?
Jerome, question
Earth's
number 3.
in space. Sorry, go on.
Question number 3, Jerome.
Yeah.
Who was the last companion to travel with the 8th Doctor in the Big Finish audio dramas before he regenerated?
Oh no. This is one I feel like I should know. Fuck.
You're a big classic Doctor Who fan, but I don't necessarily know if you've listened to much Big Finish.
I feel like he says I feel like he says her name in The Night of the Doctor. I'm trying to desperately remember.
Yes, I think he does.
Oh man.
I think I know it.
Oh fuck.
Time to take it away, Jerome. Dan's gonna have to throw it over, I think.
I'm gonna say one. I don't think it's right.
Go on.
You're gonna say the answer, and I'm gonna kick myself. Nissa. Yeah. NYSSA.
Okay, Nissa is the wrong answer.
Oh,
Michael,
I'm gonna kick myself.
Is it? And I'm not confident on this either. It's just kind of like come into my head. Is it someone called Tegan?
Tegan is the wrong answer. The correct answer is Lucy Miller.
Oh, I don't think I got that. Lucy, I wasn't thinking of Lucy.
Also,
I
swear he does say something in The Night of the Doctor, doesn't he? He does say something. He lists off a load of companions.
He says in his lines where he goes dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
I thank you all. And
that was a big deal.
Remember their names.
It was a big deal because it canonized that companion. See, Dan, we know answers. We know answers around the questions you're asking. It's just the specific.
Yeah. We've got to get one of these right, Mike.
You've got okay. Well, let's throw it over to Mike. Question number 4: in which year did Amy Pond first encounter the Doctor?
Oh, for fuck's sake!
In which year did Amy Pond first encounter the Doctor?
Is this no? I'll wait.
Is it 1994?
Jerome, what do you think?
But you haven't said he's wrong. So for all I think, it could be 1994. Is it? Are we talking about fictionally here, or are we talking the first time they met on screen? Because I would give 2 different answers.
What would be your answers for both of those?
Oh shit! No.
Because if we're going fictionally in terms of when he met her as a little girl falling out of the TARDIS, then I'd be with Mike. It's going to be around the 90s somewhere.
Okay.
And I feel like she's, I don't know, like 20. How old's Karen Gillan? I think she would have been like 22, 23. Oh, so...
All I was.
Oh, no. All right.
It's not going to be 99. No.
I'm going to say 19... All right, if it was fictionally, I'd say 1987. If it was on screen, I'd say 2010.
Mike, you were so close. The correct answer was 1996.
Oh, really? Well.
Oh, so how old is she supposed to be?
Oh, no, because I'm thinking of it when she's brought out. I completely fucked up.
When she's
The series set in 2010, that one. Is it 2010? 2011?
but he meets her as a kid.
Yeah, I know, but that's still, so if it's 1996 and that series is set in 2010, how old does that make the character of Amy Pond? Like really, like young, right? Like a teenager. I'm not disputing it, by the way. I know it's true. I didn't realize how young Amy's character was.
Well, the good news is the score is now complete 0. No one's actually scored a goal. But we'll question 5. Spice things up a bit. Jerome, what is the name of the Time Lord technology that disguised Clara Oswald as a Dalek?
What the fuck? I think I know this, but I didn't realize it was Time Lord technology. Jerome's gone into his mind palace. It's just porn.
Get out! I can't remember. I'm going to say BDSM.
I need access to my Doctor Who knowledge. I need Doctor Who knowledge.
I'm going to say BDSM. No, I can't remember. It's just, I was expecting, like, different questions. I wasn't expecting this related to, I don't know. I can't remember.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I think I've got it wrong. What is the name? What is the name of the episode in which Clara Oswald is disguised as a Dalek?
What is the name of the episode?
Yeah.
Oh, fucking hell, that's a lot easier. What is the name of the technology?
And also, I am almost 100% confident I know what the next question is. God, what is the name of the Time Lord technology? Clara Oswald as a Dalek, but now it's changed to what is the name of the episode?
What? Wait, I'm so confused. What is the question? I have no idea what's going on.
It's simple. What year was Clara Oswald born when she was Dalek? With the Time Lord technology.
Shut up, you. Dan, what was the question?
What is the name of the episode in which Clara Oswald is disguised as a Dalek? Jerome. That is the correct answer.
Yes!
Now we're cooking. Now we're cooking on gas.
God.
Strap in. Question number 6. Which companion had a doppelganger who works for Torchwood in an alternate universe? Are you sure about that?
But I don't know if it's an alternate universe. Martha Jones.
Now, before I say that's the right answer, because I think it is, I did use Copilot on this. And
I love this. I think it is.
It's shown the correct answer is Mickey Smith. Would that be right, Mickey?
Okay. Copilot spot you up there. Because I think that
Mickey
does he work for
Mickey does work for Torchwood, but Mickey isn't a doppelganger. He leaves to be in a different parallel universe, doesn't he? Because he leaves. It's in Age of Steel, where he separates from the Doctor and Rose, and he goes, I need to be my own person. I need to find myself, sort of thing. And then he goes to work for Torchwood, but it's him. I don't think it's his doppelganger.
So I'm going to override this quiz and say that Michael Priestley is the correct answer. Well done.
No, I mean if the quiz tells you that, Dan, you got to honour the quiz. Sure.
Let me explain myself. So Freema Agyeman does appear as somebody who works for Torchwood, before she's introduced as a companion, but she gets killed off in the episode, and it's not in a parallel universe. I don't think it is in the In Who universe. So I think it's up in the air if I get it or not. I think I'm like part right, and I think co-pilot is fucked us up.
Which episode are you thinking of, Mike?
It is the first part of the two-part ending to series 2. I specifically remember she sneaks off with a colleague. Yeah, she sneaks off with a colleague. Oh, and then I'm pretty sure there's an universe explanation. There's something that her sister used to work for Torture. I don't know. Something happens that kind of explains it a little bit.
Well, to keep it spicy, I'm going to give you the answer. 1-1. 4 from home, everyone. 4 from home. Jerome, what is the full name of the Doctor's granddaughter who travelled with him during his early adventures?
Susan Foreman.
It's the correct answer. 2-1 Jerome. Here we go. Mike. Lovely Mike. Which companion was revealed to be a bad wolf entity scattered across time and space? Mike. It's absolutely correct. 2-2. Come on. We're bringing it home now. We're cooking. All right. Okay. Jerome, question number 9. What was the name of the alien race that abducted and experimented on Martha Jones in the episode 42?
Yes.
An episode written by Jerome's favourite Doctor Who head honcho, Chris Chibnall.
Oh, yes. Yeah. A big Chris Chibnall fan in the room. And I've never seen him want the ground to swallow him up whole any more than before.
I was really hoping you were going to say, but it wouldn't be, of course, because the answer would be in the title if it was the Sontaran stratagem. It's a good episode. I'll give it to Chris.
Very good episode. But what was the name of the alien race that abducted and experimented on Martha Jones in the episode 42?
All I can remember is the sun taking over people and driving them into the sun for like planetary destruction. There are humans in it. I'm going to say the human race.
Your final answer.
I know you said alien race in the question, but that's what I'm going for.
The correct answer.
Doesn't it throw to me?
Oh, it does actually, yes. Right, yeah, it is. Forgot about the format.
I don't know. But
Well,
I'm going to take a guess. I'm going to take a guess because Jerome said sun, and I remember the monster like having sun coming out of his eyes and saying something like "I will burn you," something like that. I'm going to say sun, solar. I'm going to say like Solaris.
The correct answer is Terrakian.
Horse.
Those well-established Doctor Who villains, Terraculans.
Guys, we really don't deserve to host a Doctor Who podcast as well.
Well, let's see if Mike could dethrone Jerome as the Doctor Who nerd of this podcast. No pressure, Mike. Question number 10. Look at this. Who was the companion that the Doctor first met in the Snowmen episode, but later encountered in Victorian London?
Clara Oswald
is the correct answer. Therefore, contrary to popular belief for the last 6 months, Mike Priestley is the real king of Doctor Who fandom on the podcast. Round of applause.
And I won't have anyone saying that it's because I got a shot.
All that.
Well done,
all I'm gonna do now is to go back onto X videos and put in Paul McGann.
Well, I've just I don't know how we are for time. If you want.
No.
Lucy.
What? the Time Lord technology question. Like, where did that come from? Because I felt like you got that confused with another question, but then that question didn't exist.
No, it actually did. Hang on, I don't know if you can see it on this. You might not. But so, what is the name of the Time Lord technology that disguised?
I think that's different.
No.
I don't know.
Because I was going to say the chameleon arc, but then I was like, yeah, it rewrites biology. It doesn't.
Yeah. Anyway, that was a lot of fun. Thank you, Dan, for putting that together. We've had a laugh. I hope you've had a laugh. If you want to follow us on the socials, can't remember the handle. I think it's at Who Doesn't Pod, and we are primarily on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok for the young people, and I think that's it. Dan, can you think of any others? I think that's it. I think that's all I post to. X, but I never post to X. I never post to X. Fuck X.
We're on X videos.
No, you're on X videos all the time.